This may be the most devastating news out of China regarding Bitcoin yet. Of course, there's always a silver lining to it, but the news today is not good. It's not good. The China crackdown is intensifying on crypto. The latest move is a pretty dramatic one, so we'll be discussing that in today's video. My name's Lark. Every day I make videos talking about cryptocurrency investing. So if that's a topic that you would like to learn some more about, make sure that you subscribe to the channel, gently tap on the thumbs up button for the YouTube algorithm, and of course, click on the notification bell to know when I put out a new video. So let's go ahead and turn over to the charts. And well, there's not too much to say about charts today. We are in a world of pain right now at a technical level for Bitcoin. The price dropped by about 13% on the back of the China news. We are definitely downtrending right now. The 50-day moving average moving down pretty strongly after topping off back here in the death cross zone. Nice to see, at least we have found this area as a zone of price support for Bitcoin. So that's a positive. So right around $31,000, we've seen it actually bounce there. This is the third time the price is bouncing off of the $31,000 zone. So obviously there's a lot of investors who do want to buy Bitcoin, and they've got a lot of buying pressure coming in at the $31,000 zone to keep the price supported in that level. That's at least for the time being. So yeah, we'll just keep an eye on this, see how it goes. You know, it's been another rough week for Bitcoin. The price down by 25% over the last few days. Yeah, we got a little bit of a bounce recovery going on there, but you have to keep it real. The markets are very, very shaky. We just keep getting bad news after bad news after bad news. And yeah, there's good news, like MicroStrategy announced that they bought 13,000 more Bitcoin yesterday. That's nice. That's cool. I'm happy to see, MicroStrategy continuing to ape into Bitcoin like crazy. They're now up to like 105,000 Bitcoin, making MicroStrategy now one of the world's top Bitcoin holders. Of course, Satoshi has 1 million Bitcoin. The Winklevoss twins bought around 180,000 Bitcoin back in the day. How much Bitcoin they have now? Probably a bit more than that, considering they've been running a Gemini exchange for some years now, so they're one of the biggest holders as well. But, MicroStrategy, they're pretty gosh darn far up there at the moment. But yeah, hopefully $31,000 does continue to hold as an area of support for Bitcoin. But, the market's on a razor's edge right now in terms of the sentiment in the market. People are feeling exhausted. The sellers are exhausted. The buyers are exhausted. The long-term investors, we're chilling. We're stacking sats. But you have to understand there's a lot of fear still running through the markets. And in such an environment of fear, we could still see lower prices coming in for Bitcoin. So you just, keep that in mind. And if you do need to buy yourself some Bitcoin, some Ethereum, some Cardano, some Polkadot, whatever you might be after, you need to get yourself an account over on Binance. It is the best cryptocurrency exchange on the market. Use the link down below to start your account, and you'll get 10% off of your trading fees and up to $700 in trading bonuses on their futures exchange. Now let's go ahead and get into this. China's banning Bitcoin again. Come on, China. How many times are you going to ban Bitcoin, man? So here's what happened. The third largest bank in China, the Agricultural Bank of China, released an announcement to customers saying that any customers dealing with cryptocurrencies will have their accounts closed. Now, around 15 minutes later, they actually deleted that notice, but that probably just means they released it too early. I mean, they wrote the notice, they did put it out. It's real. They're really going to start cracking down in China on individual account holders. So if you are a customer at these banks, and that's just the Agricultural Bank of China, the other banks are going to start rolling this out, the Bank of China and others, it'll be countrywide. This is a mega crackdown. This is literally the Chinese government saying that we don't want anyone in our country to be able to buy Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency. Cutting off customers This is it's not good. There's nothing good about this. It's very unfortunate for regular people in China who just want to be investing in cryptocurrencies. It's obviously bad for everyone globally because China is one of the biggest cryptocurrency markets in the freaking world. Now, historically, these kind of crackdowns have not stopped Chinese investors from getting access to cryptocurrencies. They find a way. Back alley dealers still keep selling crypto to people, and people still keep buying it. But this is real. So this, after the Agricultural Bank of China deleted their statement, and I'm sure they'll come back with something in the next few days, we did have this from the People's Bank of China. They said speculative trading in virtual currencies roils economic and financial order. Of course it does. That's the point. We're disrupting finance, man. We're overthrowing the fiat system, which obviously central banks do not want to happen. Authoritarian control-minded states do not want to happen. They went on. It also spawns the risks of criminal activities such as illegal asset transfers and money laundering, and endangers people's wealth. You're right. It's so much better to have fiat currency where your wealth slowly disintegrates over time instead of course, being able to increase your wealth with these highly volatile crypto assets. But Bitcoin, of course, does trend up over time. It's just that anytime the market goes down, they can roll out this kind of criticism. Oh, people's wealth is endangered. Well, yeah, the markets have gone down, but what about stocks? Stocks go down all the time. Some of them much more than Bitcoin's gone down in recent times. That doesn't mean that the stocks are endangering people's wealth. This would be like in 2000 saying that Amazon investors are having their wealth endangered by holding on to Amazon stocks before Amazon then went on to do like a 200x or whatever from that time until now. So come on, guys. Come on. Let people invest what the heck they want to invest in. Illegal asset transfers. Money laundering. Money laundering. Come on. Not the money laundering specter again. We've been over this a lot. Crypto sucks for money laundering because it's traceable. It's all on the blockchain. And of course, the number one choice for money launderers. Dollars. Fiat currency. So easy to wash. Now, the interesting thing about this story is that none of this is really new. Most banks in China already released similar notices to stop customers from trading cryptos back in 2014. Now they're doing it again. This is not the first time Chinese banks have done this. This is the same old stuff, just every time we get in a bull market for crypto, China's gotta come out again. Oh, we're gonna ban crypto, ban people from being able to access cryptocurrencies. And of course, think about this. Chinese banks banned people back in 2014 from being able to trade cryptocurrencies because, of course, China recognized very early on the threat that Bitcoin was to the global financial order, and they were right. They were right. I don't like that they were taking the actions that they took, but they were right. It is a threat to the global financial order, and it is a threat to them and their power because their power derives from, of course, the monopoly on violence and the monopoly on money. Lose one of those, you might lose the other one too. And then what happens? Well, you don't have the power of the state, so to speak, anymore. Bitcoin's some powerful stuff, and I think that a lot of investors lose sight of the power of this technology and the fact that some of the world's most powerful governments have been working for years to try to crack down on it, and it's never freaking worked. China has been trying since 2014 and they haven't succeeded yet. Why do you think they're going to succeed in 2021? They're not going to succeed in 2021. Just more of the same old stuff. We also have this. The People's Bank of China has ordered Chinese banks to cut off accounts for crypto OTC merchants as well, bringing back up the 2017 banking ban. Again, reiterating the old laws. They're not introducing new laws. They're just reiterating previous laws that banned and cracked down on all of this stuff, bringing it back out, trying to enforce those existing legislation. So none of this is new stuff. It's just a new enforcement effort that we see going on in China. Not good. I'm not happy about this. I kind of liked the status quo where all this stuff was just kind of happening and Chinese regulators was like, whatever. Now, of course, the bull market has happened. We're in a bearish trend. The Chinese government is rolling out all this stuff, trying to protect investors and all that stuff again. Not cool. Not cool, China. And of course, the big story. That was the big story. This is also a big story. They're both huge stories. China is kicking out more than half of the world's Bitcoin miners. Some of them could be going to Texas, according to this CNBC article. This is an insanely big deal, what we are seeing happening right now. We just had an incredible amount of machines being turned off recently. We can see here just a massive downturn in the overall hash rate for Bitcoin. Now, that doesn't mean that Bitcoin's become insecure over the last few weeks. I mean, Bitcoin's still mind-bogglingly secure. Mind-bogglingly secure. But this is definitely a representation of the reality of the crackdown going on in China. So first, they cracked down on the Inner Mongolia province. That is a coal-heavy province. Then they went on to crack down on the Xinjiang province, another coal-heavy province. They cracked down another province, basically right in between Xinjiang and Inner Mongolia. I should really look up the name of that province one of these days. I keep forgetting it. They also cracked down on the Yunnan province in the south of China, also a relatively coal-heavy region. Sichuan, a hydro-heavy region, had remained kind of outside of the eyes of the regulators, but as I covered yesterday in the news, the regulators are coming after Sichuan as well. This is basically across-the-board crackdown on Bitcoin mining in China. It's good, it's bad. You know, it's bad because it's creating a lot of fear and uncertainty and doubt in the market, but realistically, I think long term, we're going to see good effects coming out of this. But this is the short-term reality right here. You can see miner distribution over the past 2 weeks. Chinese miners have been selling Bitcoin. This is, of course, part of the reason why we've seen the price of Bitcoin tanking over the last 2 weeks as well. Miners are selling their Bitcoin again. Now, I don't think they're selling their Bitcoin because they want to. They're selling their Bitcoin because they have to be selling their Bitcoin. Why do they have to sell their Bitcoin? Because they're being forced by the government to close their operations. That means that these guys who had been sitting on Bitcoin waiting for higher prices, they're being basically forced to liquidate their Bitcoin. They are, of course, now scared that they're not even going to be able to get their Bitcoin turned into cash in China because the banks are starting to crack down on them locally. So these guys have got to get rid of their Bitcoin and get cash in their hands because they've got a lot of investors that they need to pay off. They have electricity bills that they need to pay. They have leases on warehouses that they need to pay. And they're being kicked out of their business, right? So they still have to keep paying all these other people, but now they can't operate their business in China anymore. So some of these guys are just shutting shop forever. They're done. They're selling their Bitcoin. That's creating selling pressure in the market right now. The other class of Bitcoin miners in China, they need to sell Bitcoin because they're moving. So they need cash to fund renting containers and getting those containers onto ships, paying export duties, paying import duties in the country that they're going into, paying logistics, getting guys with trucks to move it around, getting new leases, right? Because they're going to lose money on their previous properties or previous leases or previous infrastructure. They have to go and build new infrastructure potentially in other countries. They have to negotiate deals, potentially paying for a year or 2 years or even more of power in advance. Takes a lot of money. They're selling the Bitcoin because they need cash to continue operating their businesses. But what we're going to see over the next few weeks and few months is going to be pretty epic, to be honest, because this whole, China runs Bitcoin narrative, Bitcoin's so dirty because of China narrative it's all going to disappear long term. This is actually super freaking good for Bitcoin. I don't like the way that, the Chinese government is behaving. But the long-term implications here could actually have some really, really positive effects, because we're going to see a massive shift of the hash rate outside of China. Miners are just going to move. They're going to be going to places like Kazakhstan, which is a pretty close jump from China. Kazakhstan wants miners to come. They've been building out laws and facilities and energy potential to invite miners into the country. So they'll be getting a little bit of that. You'll see miners going to Russia as well. There's still probably untapped hydro resources in central Siberia. We're also going to see a lot of miners going to the Americas. So El Salvador, obviously recently they said, hey, we're doing the putting in some new geothermal capacity with our volcanoes. Maybe they're going to go to Paraguay. Who knows? But definitely the United States is, I think, first and foremost in the targets of a lot of Bitcoin miners. How do we know that? Well, check this out. Last night, Bitmain Tech, and in case you don't know who Bitmain is the biggest producer globally of Bitcoin mining machines. So last night, in light of all this recent news, they hosted a VIP invite-only event in Chengdu. Now, Chengdu is in the Sichuan province. So this is like the heart, the beating heart of Bitcoin mining in China. They brought all these miners in, their biggest customers, to talk about getting the heck out of China and going to the USA. Think about that. They are also, I really want to point this out, carbon-seeking green energy to build a new blue ocean in mining industry. So they're going to move to the USA, and they're going to seek out green energy. This is going to be just such a fundamental shift in what we're seeing for Bitcoin right now, because now Bitcoin is going to be mined in, Canada and the USA and some other countries in the Americas. We're also going to see a massive shift towards renewable energy. We've already been seeing a big push by the Bitcoin mining industry to make it renewable. They're going to push even harder to lower the carbon footprint of Bitcoin. And part of that is going to be moving out of China. China is kicking them out. They're going to go find greener pastures. And it's going to be good long-term for Bitcoin. Even if short-term we experience some pain because miners, they need to cash out. They need the money to move overseas. You can see the strategies happening. The miners are literally getting together and talking about getting the heck out of China and moving to America or wherever else they can get cheap, renewable power. It's happening, guys. It's the silver lining of our story here. Short term, China's going to crack down. That's not exciting. But they're doing it. And I think they're much more serious than they've been in previous years with their crackdown. Long term, it's of course not really going to matter. People will always find a way. They haven't been able to successfully crush Bitcoin in 7 years. They're not going to do it now. But they are cracking down on Bitcoin miners like never before. That's going to have a real impact. We are going to see these Bitcoin miners moving out of the country, moving somewhere else, and seems to be that the USA is going to be the location of preference, which is going to be a big geopolitical shift for Bitcoin. Very interesting times to see what is happening. The end of the China makes Bitcoin narrative. Then in a couple years, we can all be, oh, America's got too much hash rate. We should really disperse it more geographically. I look forward to those days. Get past all of the drama that we're seeing right now and just move on. The future of Bitcoin, which is exactly what's happening right now, even if pulling off that Band-Aid can be a bit painful in the short term. Anyway, just my two Satoshis, of course. Your question for today: do you think that China kicking out the miners is a long-term good thing for Bitcoin, or do you think that this is just bad news bears? Let me know down below in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching today's video, and peace out till next time.